This book is so interesting.
He's bald! My eyes!
This means nothing to the audio listeners.
Oh, right? Guys, for our audio listeners, Alan is bald.
Not really. Watch the episode on YouTube or on Spotify.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Hand Me Down Podcast. We're your hosts. My name's Natalia.
And I'm Alan.
And as always, thank you so much for joining us for yet another episode. This one's going to be a little musical episode, little episode filled with tunes, filled with fun little giggles.
Have we done a musical episode yet?
No. Wow, there's a first for everything.
That says a lot about the state of musicals in the Latino sphere.
Exactly. So, I mean, if you clicked on the episode, you know that today we are going to be talking about a little movie called In the Heights. And so we're going to go into a little bit of deep into the themes and stuff like that. Typically, like the way that we always tend to do with the movies that we review. But before that, as always, we catch up. We do a little bit of internet corner. We have some fun. We have some laughs. We have some giggles.
Mm-hmm. All that good stuff. And if you are not a fan of musicals, don't worry. I mean, you're not going to hear it here. You're not going to hear any singing here.
That's a promise I can't make.
But even if you haven't seen the movie, I would really encourage you to stick through this episode or to keep on watching this episode, because I feel like most of the times we take into account that a lot of people haven't seen these movies, so we kind of try to talk about the themes that the movie talks about and how it relates to us or how it relates to other Latinos in general. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of fun stuff to be had, and maybe through this conversation you will get the inspiration to see it, which is on HBO Max, so you can see it there. But let's jump into it. How are you, Natalia?
I am. We have a new friend with us today.
Yeah, if you guys are watching on video.
Our video watchers. That's Milena's chicken. She brought it home, and we were brainstorming names one night. We were like, what could it be? Like we were like brainstorming just, names that people always tend to lean towards, like Bob and stuff like that. And then we were like, no. This one is a Lady Gaga. And so that is our chicken's name. Our chicken's name is Lady Gaga. And Lady
Gaga wears glasses.
Lady Gaga is a woman of many different hats and
she was born this way.
She was born this way. Was born this way.
She's on the right track, baby.
And she was born this way. And, she rah-rah'd and she whoa-whoa-wo'd. Mm-hmm. And now she's joining us.
I was trying to think of other Lady Gaga songs.
Right? Just Bad Romance.
She got caught in the Bad Romance.
She poker-faced. This old Lady Gaga song.
Has she released anything new recently? When was the last time she dropped something?
Oh, I don't even know, dude.
Lady Gaga, step it up.
Lady Gaga, I'm foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, we're starving.
Something. Yeah. No, she did Rain on Me, right?
Yeah.
When was that?
A couple years ago, I think.
But that was just one song.
I guess.
She had an album. It was the I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say.
See, we couldn't even guarantee no singing.
I'm just not as big of a stan of Lady Gaga as I thought I was. I didn't
In
think
the shallow.
That is one. Yeah.
Anyway, that's Lady Gaga, our chicken.
Beautiful. Let's give it up.
Let's give it up. Should we?
Yeah, maybe we'll hit a button. If you're new here, we have 4 buttons that our lovely associate producer Milena randomly put sounds on. So throughout the episode, we kind of just hit them randomly. Let's hit one for Lady Gaga.
For Lady Gaga. This one's for you, Lady Gaga.
Mom! I feel like that one might come really in handy.
My mom.
I love Muscle Man. Muscle Man is like peak masculinity. Just kidding. No, he's not.
Muscle Man is alpha male. Do you think Muscle Man would have a podcast? And he'd be like one of those who's just like, females never appreciate what you do, and that's why you have to cheat on them.
I don't know if Muscle Man is like that. I mean, he had a committed relationship with Starla. We're getting into regular show lore here. But I should watch that show again and maybe pick it up. But he would definitely have a podcast with High Five Ghost. Just little buddy.
Real. Maybe we'll pitch
I feel
that
like
to Cartoon
I feel
Network.
like I quote him all the time.
I only see my mom.
When I have to start something, I'm like, you gotta finesse it.
I feel like I have not watched this show as much as I thought.
Yeah. He's trying to start a car, and he's like, well, you gotta finesse it, and he like takes off his shoe and he starts going like that to the
car
to the gas pedal.
You gotta finesse it. Okay, Bruno Mars.
I ain't dripping in finesse.
Real. Well, anyway.
My mom. Moving on.
How are you doing, Alan?
I am good. For all the audio listeners, I got a haircut.
Snip, snip.
This is the shortest I've had it in. I was trying to make the calculations in maybe 8 months. The first time I get a haircut by a barber in 8 months.
Dang.
Yeah, so I feel like since we started this podcast, I've kind of had longer hair, and I was looking at back at like episode 1, and it wasn't that long, but yeah, I haven't cut it since we started this. So this is the first time I feel lighter, but it kind of sucks because it's cold. So I'm just like, I miss it. I miss my helmet.
Your helmet?
But it was also just getting way too much. So
dang.
Here it is. Yeah. How are you? Anything else? You're still thinking about Lady Gaga.
I'm still thinking about Lady Gaga, but I'm also thinking about another white woman. And
Whoa.
Whoa. I'm just kidding, guys. But I watched Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again for the first time. And might I say...
Is that the first one?
No, it's the second one.
Second one.
And might I say, Miss Lily James, if you are free this Thursday, I would love to hang out with you this Thursday when I'm free.
You were... Oh, I was like, you were thirsting over this person.
Lily
and I
James?
didn't know what they look like.
Really?
Until right now.
I was watching that Mamma Mia movie and I was like, Mamma Mia. Like, God damn. My mom. I was like, fuck, dude. Miss Mamma Mia. Anyway.
You like a nice sharp jawline.
She's very gorgeous to me. But yeah, I have a crush on Lily James now. That has been unlocked.
If you listen to this episode, Lily James,
I know you're out there listening to
if
the
anyone
Hand-Me-Down
knows,
podcast.
I mean, we're always 6 degrees away from someone. Have you ever heard that? Mm-mm. That like you're always 6 degrees or less away from someone. So like think of any Lady Gaga. There's 6 people or less than 6 people that can connect you to Lady Gaga.
What?
Like it's like it'll work for
Which
anyone.
one of you motherfuckers knows Lady Gaga?
But like, yeah, because you can know someone and they know someone and they'll know someone and they'll know someone who knows Lady Gaga. It's like the 6 degree of separation rule or whatever.
Isn't that like a SpongeBob episode? He's like, I knew this guy who knew this guy who knew this guy who knew this guy who knew this guy's brother.
Basically, but SpongeBob didn't go as in depth with it.
He wasn't studious like we're being right now.
Who would you be excited to be like? You know, if you really tried, you could probably do it.
Like, who do I think I am?
Or who would you want to?
Who would I want? Paramore.
Okay.
That's all of them.
Okay. Well, let's put this theory to a test. Mm-hmm. If anyone who's watching
knows Paramore
or knows someone who knows Paramore, let us know. Maybe we can connect the dots.
Dude, imagine. I'd quite literally shit my pants. I'll quite literally tremble in my seat. I don't know what I would. I'm trembling right now. Mira, what's that called? Shifting?
Dude, I totally forgot about shifting.
Just me imagining.
For the people who don't know what shifting is, what's shifting?
Okay, I don't understand it to a T, but because it was explained to me by somebody. But apparently it's like when you literally like think about a scenario so hard that like you quote unquote shift to that place.
You shift your reality.
Yeah, you like shift your reality. And apparently it's like people would do it and they were like dead ass like thought that they were there, like that they like reached that place. I'm like, isn't that just like meditation or like?
Well, meditation is like I can't speak on it. I thought meditation was just like trying to clear your mind, but then there's like I don't know.
I took an intro to Buddhism class one summer.
Oh,
I cried.
When?
In the pandemic summer.
Damn.
I cried because it was so hard. It was hard to do it online. and it was hard to do it because it was like a video lecture and
what requirement did this fulfill? Philosophy?
Writing too. The fool that was teaching it just had the slideshow and it was just pictures, and I appreciate a good picture in a slideshow, but if there's no words written out, especially if they're in a language I don't speak, oh my God, it was so freaking hard to follow along. I was
you see, I really like this book because it's got pictures and I can't read.
Yeah. But I was just like, I would love if you just added the word of what you were talking about on the slide so that one, I know what it looks like, and two, I know what it's pronounced as.
Yeah.
Because then when I'm doing my readings, I know that that's what you're talking about. And I was like, oh my God. Anyway, I cried so much that summer because I also took a linguistics class, bro.
I like linguistics.
Bro, I was humbled. Did you take a linguistic class at UCLA?
Yeah, and it was asynchronous, so it was like stuff that was already recorded.
Was it intro to linguistics?
Yeah,
I cried.
but I think I had some experience with it because I had taken an anthropology class that dealt with like the phonetic alphabet, the international phonetic alphabet. The only thing I didn't like about it was that I was in class, or like the test, I believe, were in person. No, it wasn't in person. No, it was. No. It wasn't in person, but I remember just being in my room going like, like, is this syllable bilabial or
yeah, I was
frontal?
like in my freaking room like, ooh, ooh, started fucking crying because it was so hard. And then I had to like ask my mom, because my mom, she loves linguistics. And so I was just like, Miss Girl, like, can you help me? She was like, I'm gonna keep it real with you, I don't know what the hell any of this stuff is. And I was like, what the hell? So long story short, I cried.
I found linguistics super interesting.
It
just
was
like
interesting,
the way
it's
that
hard.
language develops, and just like language is just so interesting to me. So if you guys ever took linguistics, did you guys cry or did you guys cry tears of joy? Let us know.
If you cried, please say yes so that I don't feel alone.
If you cried tears of sadness. But other than that, we went on like 5 tangents, which is beautiful. I tried the new Coca Cola flavor yesterday.
What's the new Coca Cola flavor?
It is Coca Cola spiced.
Spice?
What do you think that is?
Coca Cola spiced.
Not sponsored.
I mean, like, when you first said it, I thought of like Flamin' Hot. Flamin' Hot Coca Cola. But then now, when I'm thinking about it more, I think it's like an elevated, like Coca Cola flavor times 2.
Interesting. Why do you say that?
Because it's like, well,
that didn't come to my mind.
When you say something like spice it up, it's like elevate it, like bring it up.
You know what? You're a lot closer, because I had no idea what to expect. But then I read the can and it said raspberry with spices. And I was like, what fucking spices are in here?
Cumin.
And I drank it and it was delicious. It was really good. It kind of tasted like Nerds.
Ooh,
kind of. But it was really good. It was really refreshing. And yeah, I just didn't know what to expect from the spices. I don't know what spices they were fucking talking about, but it was good.
It's just salt. Like spices.
Because I tried to like look it up, but they haven't like released what the spices are. But it does have like a raspberry flavor, and this is the first Coke, like permanent Coke flavor, because you know they have like Dreamscape or like
the only reason
flavors.
I know is because
I'm a sucker, dude. If I see a fucking new flavor, I have to try it.
the Rosalia Coke.
That one was good.
We were like walking down the aisle, and then you were like, pump the brakes, and you were like, they have a Rosalia Coke, and I was like, I didn't even notice that. La Rosalia.
It was good. But yeah, they have like stupid flavors like that all the time. I didn't try the flavor that was made by AI just because I'm not a fan of AI, so I wasn't supporting that.
Just because. Should we do a button? This one's for AI.
Why not? Why won't you sing? Because singing killed my grandma, okay? Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Oh my God, it was so good. But yeah, AI killed my grandma.
AI. Well,
Okay,
That took a Black Mirror turn.
But this is a new permanent like flavor. So they have like, I think, actually, I'm not even 100% sure what constitutes like a permanent flavor. I don't know if like the vanilla one is permanent flavor. But I'm thinking of like the likes of like they have Coke, then they have Diet Coke, like the caffeine free Coke, Coke Zero, and I'm guessing it's like part of that, like that you can like it's not gonna be
The family grows.
yeah.
Wow.
So it was pretty good. If you guys haven't tried it, go ahead and try it. Again, we're not sponsored. Coke, hit me up if you do want to sponsor me. I love your products.
I love
Actually, I don't
your
know.
Coke.
I'll take that back because you got to pay me for that.
Back on 74. I didn't know what to do. I panicked.
Moving on
Yeah.
to Internet Corner.
The corner of the internet where we spend a lot more time than we would like to admit.
Yeah.
Don't we all?
I mean, if you're listening to this, you're probably listening to it on the internet.
Yeah. Unless you're
Wouldn't that
listening
be crazy?
to it.
It's like a radio and we didn't know we were on the radio. That'd be insane.
What's like the most bizarre thing that you can listen up to a podcast? A printer?
A fucking DSI.
DSI. It's all crunchy, the audio.
if you guys are still on the DSI like grind, make a flipgram of us. You know, that's my dream
to be
a flipgram.
not even like a fan cam, just a flip.
No, I don't think I'm cute enough to be on a fan cam. But a flipgram.
Flipgram.
That's where I
it's
thrive. Do you have anything for Internet Corner? It's gonna be quite short today.
Yeah. Literally just the Back on 74 Gap ad. That shit low-key worked. If y'all haven't seen it, first of all, if you guys are new to the show, I need to tell you how I love the album Volcano by Jungle. It's the best album to ever drop. And what I love about the album so much are the music videos that accompany it, which I don't think I talked about when I talked about
is
that.
Volcano your favorite album of all time?
I think up until this point, yes, because literally,
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what's going to come in the future, but yeah.
but like right now, bro, it's been months.
Damn.
And I'm still not tired of it.
Damn.
It's
Nice.
been months. And if
Nice.
like because I'm a shuffle girly and I listen to music on shuffle, if one of those songs happens to come on, I am in the best mood ever. But
We should have an episode where we like kind of do our top 10 albums of all time. But go ahead. Sorry.
Volcano. Anyway, so Gap did an ad where they recreated or like re-envisioned one of the music videos that went viral on TikTok, and it was so beautiful. The color palette was so beautiful, and I was like, that's how you market to me. That's how they made that ad with Natalia in mind.
That's interesting because do you think, what is Gap's demographic? Like, who's their
Gay
target
ass
audience?
people. Oh,
It's not what I meant by that question. But
that's
like,
what Gap stands for.
you think like traditionally who shops at Gap?
Well, when I think of Gap, I think of like back to school. So like kids.
I think of like suburban kind of
I
kids
also
and like
hate the mall.
moms.
Oh.
That's what I think. So now that it looks like they're shifting that to be you.
To be me.
Yeah.
It's just me. Make me the face of Gap. As a gay ass person, make me the face of Gap.
But I think they might have already been trying to reach a younger, not a younger because they cater to kids too, but like a kind of like a young adult demographic. I feel like they've been trying to break into that market because I think Kanye had also collabed with them at one point. I don't know if that went through because then he got canceled and then people started pulling stuff, but I think I remember that. So interesting to see these moves by Gap. When did we turn into like a business?
right. Well, this was a really good move from a business perspective.
Gap stock is going to go all the way up.
This is for the gay ass people. Wow. Simple but so good.
When you heard that sound, what came to mind? A fucking like a club boop hitting someone? Like or a coconut?
Oh, a dog.
A dog.
Because isn't that where the audio is like bonk? It's like the dog doing the bonk.
Oh yeah. The go to horny Joe.
Oh yeah.
It sounds like a coconut to me, like a coconut falling on a empty head.
She sounds very gorgeous to me.
But besides that, is there anything else you had to say about the Gap ad?
Just maybe next episode you'll see me wearing some Gap, dude.
It worked.
Probably
that's
not.
Yeah. Unless my part of Internet Corner is the Mandela Effect trend on TikTok. Have you seen that?
I have not.
No. Okay. Well, maybe I'll show you some, but I don't think I will be able to show them. I don't think we'll be able to put them because they have it's like basically all copyrighted music. But the gist of this is, if you don't know what the Mandela Effect is, it is, it came up maybe like I want to say mid 2010s, where people noticed that things were different. So like,
And how they remembered it.
Yes, perfect. Things are different than how they remembered it. One of the famous examples is the Berenstein Bears. Like it's spelled Berenstein Bears or some shit like that. And people were like, oh my God. I always thought it was stupid. There's like theories that like it's like a rift in like the space-time continuum or something, or like, and like there's a glitch in the matrix or whatever. I think it's stupid. I think that our minds are just not as powerful, and we just literally like our brain fills in gaps, and like
Gap? I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Our brain just fills in gaps, or just like our brain just remembers stuff wrong. Like I remember taking a psychology class, and my my professor was like, yeah, like basically saying that that students have gaslit him into believing that he actually had collected their work and he just lost it.
That's
because
crazy.
like, yeah, you just implant new memories into your brain, you know? Anyways, that's what the Mandela Effect is. But this is a good spin on it because it's on TikTok. It's like, it's two pictures and you have to swipe. So the first one is like, this is like my favorite Mandela Effect or something like that. And it's, my favorite Mandela Effect is that this song was not in this movie or show. So then you swipe and it's like the poster of the movie and it's a song. So here, an example would be, so this one was just a picture of Nelson Mandela, and it says the Mandela Effect, that this song was in Ratatouille, and it's Rata de dos Patas by Paquita la del Barrio. But a lot of the ones that I've been getting have been solely in Spanish. So it's beautiful. If you haven't looked at, or if you haven't seen this trend, look it up. The Mandela Effect trend. That's my Internet Corner.
Period. That's a wrap on the Internet Corner. And
my mom. Great way to transition. Actually, let me go ahead and do some housekeeping real quick before we move on with the rest of the episode. If you guys are listening on a podcast platform, go ahead and give us a review and a rating. We would appreciate it so much. If you are watching on YouTube, we highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button and give us a like and comment. You know, we love to hear from you guys, whatever you guys have to say. We love having this be a two-way conversation. And lastly, if you want more of us, you can follow us on social media at handmedownpod on TikTok and on Instagram. If you miss an episode, hey, that's okay. We understand it. But you can follow us on there to get the best clips, to get the best highlights from the episode that you missed. So again, that is at handmedownpod on TikTok and on Instagram. And we also have a Discord, which is linked down below wherever you are listening or watching. That is also a good way to kind of keep up and, you know, let us know your opinions. If you guys are too shy to comment, we get it. You guys can give us a feedback there. Recently, we were trying to get a Discord channel up to talk about the Love is Blind season finale. So, yeah, if you guys are into that, we'll be there, and I will be giving my opinions, and Milena will be giving her opinions. Natalia hasn't watched it, so she'll just be like,
I'm just trying to get people to play Fortnite with me on the Discord. Nobody wanted to play. Nobody wants to play with me. But anyway.
Yeah, we can also use it for Fortnite if you guys are Fortnite users. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. And let's get back to the episode.
lights up in Washington Heights. Alrighty, guys. Now we're going to transition into the meat and potatoes of the episode.
The time has come.
The time
I feel
has
like
come.
we should have a Latino version of that.
Of what?
Meat and potatoes.
Carne con papas.
Huevos con chorizo. Chorizo con papa of the episode.
Huevo con weenie. That's good.
Okay.
All right, guys.
We'll remember that. Keep us accountable, guys.
Yeah.
But yes, moving into
The huevo con weenie of the episode.
we're going to be talking about In the Heights, specifically the movie adaptation of the 2008 musical on Broadway.
Yeah. So In the Heights, which is streaming on
HBO Max.
Max.
Or Max.
I was going to say Paramount Plus. Sorry, you guys. Wrong one. But yeah, so this is a very fun movie. It is a musical, which, as Alan said, we have not reviewed a musical yet on the podcast. So we're super excited to get into that. And so In the Heights is a movie that was adapted from the musical, and it tells a story about a neighborhood in New York known as Washington Heights. And so the story kind of follows multiple different cast members' stories. They all deal with a whole bunch of different themes that are very unique, but all the characters are very connected because of everything that they're going through. And so the main character, Usnavi, we're kind of following him as he starts to go for his dream, which is going back to the Dominican Republic. And we just kind of are brought back into what makes him love where he's from, that being, yes, the Dominican Republic, but also Washington Heights and like that neighborhood. So that is basically the plot in a nutshell.
Yeah, everybody's trying to like follow their own dreams, follow their own paths, which I was going to say everybody has goals, which obviously like I feel like that's the main thing in the stories for your characters to have goals. But yeah, I mean, I don't know where we want to start. We'll try to keep it spoiler free, and if there are spoilers, we'll go ahead and talk about those.
We'll do this sound effect.
and we'll say it. But I guess first impressions for you.
First impressions was, wow, golly. Like I don't really watch musicals. I also don't watch a lot of live theater, which I've actually have been meaning to start doing.
Partake in. Yeah, me neither.
But the first time I watched this movie, I was like, this is beautiful. I was just like, this just feels like cinema. I was like, this is like, the camera moves were very fun. The choreography was very fun. The singing was fun. Colors were very fun. And it was just like, there were multiple times where I just like had goosebumps, I think, throughout the whole movie.
I had a lot of goosebumps too.
So I was just like, wow. I mean, like, it also, like, I mean, you talked about it when we were watching it, but having to pay attention to the lyrics to like to know what was going on, I was like, fuck, so I had to turn on my active listening mode even more. But it was really fun. I thought that the lyrics were really good, and I just really enjoyed this movie. That was my first impression. What was yours?
My first impression, well, America has a problem.
As Beyonce went. So we're going to get another chicken. We're going to name it Beyonce.
The problem that America has, amongst the many problems, is that they made Lin Manuel Miranda super cringy, or like they memed the fuck out of him. So going into this, I did not have high expectations. I feel like the only thing that I had seen about Lin Manuel Miranda was his not even like roles, but just like what he has helped create for animated films. I had never really watched Hamilton or this, so I was like going in like very weary about this. I was like, fuck, dude, Lin made this. Mr. Colombia, he made this. So I kind of went in weary, and by the end of it, I was like, you know, I'm glad that Lin Manuel's finally getting his flowers. I mean, I feel like he's been getting his flowers from people, but he finally got his flowers from me. I understood.
And that's what matters.
I understood why everybody just like has this huge appreciation for him. I mean, I had understood that before, but I think after watching this, I was like, wow, like he really put so much time and effort. And we'll talk about some of the stories that I had read about him making this come to life. But if you haven't guessed already, we're kind of going to be gushing over this movie a lot. But towards the end, I do maybe have some criticisms, but I hit my mic. But for the most part, I really enjoyed it.
That was perfectly said. Real. Should we do the last one?
Yeah.
This is for you, Lin Manuel Miranda.
Colombia, me encantó, me encantó.
When I say that, I'm almost on the verge of tears. That was perfect. That was perfect. I'm sorry. I kind of like fucking punched you and shit. I'm sorry.
Dude, that was, sometimes it makes you wonder how life works out in its quirky little way.
It's Lin. It's Lin.
It's Lin. That's so crazy. Did we? Oh, anyway, sorry. That was for you, Linny. Colombia.
Yes, I mean, first of all, we can start in talking about how this movie was adapted from a musical into this movie.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you have to say about that?
Well, I'm wondering if we should just start going into that and the things that you learned about Lin.
Yeah,
making
I mean,
the movie,
we can.
I think that would be fun to start.
And it wasn't really very much about the movie. I was reading up a lot about the process of making this show on Broadway. He went to college, Wesley College, something like that. And he was a part of this group, and he wrote a version that would become this in college.
Oh shit.
Originally, it was a love triangle between Nina, who was the character, who was her boyfriend, Benny, and this third character named Lincoln. Lincoln liked Benny, Benny liked Nina, and that was that was the plot. And so he did that, and a lot of people liked it at his college. And then after he graduated, he just kept on workshopping it and doing revisions and doing like so many workshops. A lot of the people that he worked with in college came aboard. And like he kind of formed his own little what do we call that? We in the Chris Carmona episode, he talked about it like a little group.
Like a creative collective,
like a collective,
or something. Yeah.
And they were all working on it together. And Usnavi was not even the main character; he was a supporting character. And the more that they workshopped it, people really liked his character. So he eventually grew there. And they were saying that at this point, Lincoln was still in it. And eventually they were getting to a point where like, it's too much, it's too cluttered. So they kind of killed Lincoln off, or they didn't kill him off, but they took him out of the script, and
They hit him out of the script.
Lin Manuel Miranda said that although Lincoln had to die for this, Lincoln died so that Nina could thrive, because Nina became a lot more complex. Like a lot of the kind of dynamic that Nina has with her dad, it was stuff that Lincoln was going to have with the father character. So she became a lot more of a complex character, which is so interesting to know that it went through so many revisions and changed so much.
Yeah.
So it's just cool to see that, we're thinking about projects that we want to work on, and like recently kind of like trying to start those up. But to see that it can take so many drafts of something to finally make it was very cool to see. And that's what I learned.
Yeah, no, because I also was watching some making of videos, and somebody had mentioned, I think it was the actress who plays Abuela Claudia, was like, she had asked Lin, like, when did you start working on these songs? And he was just like, oh, when I was 17. And I was like, that's insane to have worked on something for that long. And then
you can see
this is
it.
the result. Yeah,
And
you can see so much heart.
Definitely see it.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Abuela character. The Abuela character was the only person to come from the stage.
Oh, for
Yeah.
the actress?
Yeah.
Dude,
So
yeah.
she killed it in that performance on stage that they're like, we
need her.
We can't cast anyone else.
She brought me to tears. We can break down some themes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Actually, let's go into some of the themes.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you want to go into
You can go into some of the themes.
Thank you.
Colombia, me encantó, me encantó.
Alrighty, so let's transition into some of the themes of the film. So, some of the themes that you can find in this movie are parents living through you, which is found with Nina and her dad, as we were kind of touching upon in a previous conversation. Finding your own purpose and generational guilt, kind of going hand in hand with that. The pressure to succeed for your community and the importance of community, gentrification, joyfulness in Latino communities, intergenerational relationships, ever-changing dreams, and Latino pride. So very packed, but done very well, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's what you can see through him workshopping this and doing it over and over and over. He really was able to find ways to fit all of this in here and make it work, like all kind of connect. And I think one of my favorite things is that you're probably going to hear this a lot from me. When I like something is that it doesn't hit you over the head with it. Some of these themes are touched and you just see the results of them, but they never kind of like are preaching to you about what we need to do or blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It kind of just lets you breathe in these moments. And I'll go ahead and go into one of the first themes, which is joyful Latinos. This film tackles a lot of, gentrification. Everybody is affected by it in this story. The nail salon and the girls who work there, who are part of the ensemble cast too. The Nina's dad, I forget his name, but Nina's dad.
Kevin Rosario?
There we go, Kevin. Who owns kind of like a taxi service. And then our main protagonist, Usnavi, who owns kind of like the bodega, yeah. But although that is a difficult situation to navigate, it's never kind of like shown as very like that's not all they think of, and that's not all they like focus on, and that's not like
it's like
where they're
what's that called? Oh my god, I'm blanking on it. But there's like the saying like almost like breaking through when it's hard. But there's like
the rose that grew from concrete.
Oh,
is that it? No,
no, I don't think so.
Tupac,
this is for you.
But in spite of all that happening, they can still be happy and joyful, and I feel like that's what it's like. Like sometimes you are going through hard times, and but there are also all these other things, and I think that's part of the community. Is like your community's able to make that environment.
Yeah, and they all like understand what each and every one of them is going through, because they have that because I think we mentioned that this has like an ensemble cast, and I do think that the neighborhood is part of the cast. Like that is definitely like a character.
Any other themes for you that you kind of want to bring up?
I mean, just I loved the thing that I noticed right off the bat was the intergenerational relationships in this story of just like the characters of so many different ages. Like the movie starts with stories being told to children, and also just that also touches on the importance of keeping your stories alive by telling them. And then you have characters that are the age of our main character, which are, I believe they're almost 30, I think is what he mentioned.
Late 20s.
Yeah, like late 20s. And then you have parental figures like Kevin, and then you have abuela, and you just have like all these different or like even like young people like Sunny, all these different ages, and you kind of see the differences in how they handle what they are going through because of one, their age, and like two, their understandings of like what they find important to them and stuff like that. And so I thought that they tackled that very well with the characters, because it all just like it made sense. Like I was like, okay, well, so and so is thinking about this because of their relationship with what's going on and stuff, and I'm like, damn.
And I think that that's great, because there is so many different stories when it comes to that in turn. And like, I think this is what it did well. Like, you know, every immigration story is not the same. And that's exactly what they showcased here.
Yeah.
I think with like, you know, Kevin's character, which is a dad figure in this film, he thinks a lot different than, like you said, the grandma character who I don't know how to say it without spoiling it, but yeah.
So I'm not gonna say it.
You guys will get that from me.
Yeah, no. And there is the idea of moving forward. There's the idea of moving forward where, you know, you see that within the different generations of the characters. And I think that was told very well too, of just like trying to, because I feel like a lot of them are trying to get out, or like they're just like, that's a majority of their goals is like to get out of the neighborhood. But also just like while they're trying to get out, also are realizing the beauties that come from the community that the neighborhood like fosters for them.
Yeah. And what they've been able to create.
Yeah.
Out of like necessity and out of struggle, the beautiful things that they've been able to create. And that kind of leads into like the gentrification aspect of it, which we kind of talked about that. That's kind of a theme throughout all of it, because people are having to move out from where they've been. And I guess this is kind of just like talking more about gentrification in general, but you know, that community that they were able to build from struggle, from, you know, being able to look adversity in the face and make something beautiful out of it. That is very valuable culture. That is the reason why other people want to move in here and gentrify it. So it sucks that these people who are the reason for that adversity and the reason why these people have to live in a community like this and build a community like this, then come in after and are like, okay, well, now we want to live here. You guys made it so cool. Now we want to live here. And then they have to go through that cycle again. So that's kind of just like the problem with it. Because a lot of people were like, well, isn't gentrification kind of a good thing because they're making the area nicer? But then what I just said happens, and it's just a cycle that's just going to continue and pushing these people away. So
yeah, and I think what I like about the movie and the story, and just like, you know, not just the movie but the play as well, is the fact that it is a musical. I think also adds so much beauty to the story too, because like, yes, the story does touch upon struggles and stuff, but like I feel like adding that element of like fantastical, like whimsical type of thing that we saw in the story, I was just like, this is like the saddest part of the movie wasn't the struggles. I don't think it was like, I mean, like we won't spoil what the fucking saddest part of the movie was. Goddamn. But it was just like, it was still beautiful to see all of like everything was wrapped up. Everything that was so beautiful about the story was like elevated because of the music and because of like the world building of it being a musical. And so I was just like, oh, period. Like, this is beautiful.
I think it did work really well together with the music. Just like the fact that, again, like facing adversity, what are you going to do? Or like, what do people do in times like these? They build community and they let it out in other ways. And like, it shows healthy ways to let it out. It doesn't really focus on the unhealthy ways. There is maybe one character who embodies that.
Name drop.
It's Mark Anthony.
Dude, that shit was crazy. That was the craziest reveal.
But the character that Mark Anthony plays embodies that. And it doesn't really focus on that, which I feel like some people might want it to focus on it because it is a big problem in these communities as well. The unhealthy ways of coping with this stress and all these things that you're going through. But it's also nice to see the healthy ways of coping with stuff. Because we learn from what we see in the media. So yeah. Anyways, anything else before we talk about maybe these two?
I mean, since we're talking about the music, our associate producer Milena wrote some memorable lyrics and quotes that for our boy Lin Manuel Miranda,
Colombia,
who was able to contribute more than just this.
Me encantó.
And so those lyrics are: we had to assert our dignity in small ways, little details to tell the world we're not invisible. Banger quote by Abuela. Another banger quote by Abuela is, "Ay mama, what do you do when your dreams come true? I've spent my life inheriting dreams from you." First of all, that whole sequence, my jaw was on the floor. I
very
had
beautiful.
Goosebumps. The hair was sticking up on the back of my neck. I was like, oh my God. And just like the song that Nina sings too, I think that's when I was like, I like
Her first song?
Was that her first song?
Yeah.
Her first song
I
was
liked her
really
first
good too. And it was just like, I think we should talk about Nina's character too.
Yeah. So yeah, because now we're gonna talk about these. So do you wanna? What do you have to?
Well,
Where do you want to start?
we have been talking about the importance of community in these types of situations and how people thrive off of just like being with each other. And I think what was so interesting about Nina's character and that she does bring up is that she expresses how that lack of community of her over there in college.
Yeah, let's explain what Nina's.
Yeah. So Nina's kind of
deal
like
is.
the golden child type of not just to her parents, but to the whole neighborhood
Community.
where everybody is kind of like counting on her to succeed academically. They kind of are like, she's the one that made it out, and she's the one that's gonna make it big, and she's the one that's
Valedictorian, goes to Stanford.
Yeah, so she does do that. She goes away to college, but in the movie she comes back, and so she realized that she struggled a lot going to school in an area. It was Stanford, which is important to note because that's in Palo Alto. So anybody who's from the Bay Area knows Palo Alto. She really felt what it was like to have that community ripped from under you, but like nowhere to kind of turn to, and to feel kind of isolated and stuff, which I feel like a lot of people, I think, feel when they go to college, especially predominantly white institutions. And I think it's kind of like an eye-opening experience for her, where she realizes how important her community is, and kind of like if the audience hasn't thought about that in their own community too, how important that is to have that support. But it also deals with the other opposite end of that spectrum of having your community support is feeling guilty because your community supported you so much and saw you through so much. When you feel like you can't go on, feeling guilty that these people put so much effort into this, I can't let them down. And sometimes pushing yourself beyond your means, and maybe burning out is also, that wasn't her case, but that is a case that can happen. Or feeling guilty that you don't want to take the path that they kind of want you to take, or that kind of they have in their mind of what your future can look like, and dealing with that guilt. And I think that's why that first song kind of hits. It kind of sums that up pretty well, and she continues to grow. But yeah, and like upon continuing to grow, this is a point that Milena made, her hair changes as well. It starts off straight in the beginning, and like we said, if you know Palo Alto, it's literally just rich white folks. So when she first comes back from college, her hair is straight, but as she starts to find that community again in Washington Heights, right? I was like, in the Heights. She starts to embrace her natural hair and starts to like let the texture come out and stuff. That starts happening around the same time where she starts listening to her block. If you guys have seen the movie, she does this really cringy thing where she's talking to like her ex or her boyfriend, and she's just like, shh, let me listen to my block. Dude. And she's just listening. Dude, I'm gonna listen to the block That's what my blog has to say. But it's sweet, but I was like, oh. Just a little bit. Lin, you did a great job.
Cross the line a little bit.
We were teeter-tottering there. Just a little bit.
Let's see, what other things might you have to say about this? Well, I guess, again, talking about the importance of community, the grandma character, who she's actually not a grandma to anyone, but kind of a grandma to the whole block.
Yeah.
She's kind of adopted everybody as her own. And she's really kind of like the matriarchal pillar in this community. Yeah, it was really great to see her take that responsibility.
Yeah, I love the grandma character. She's who I want to be when I grow up. I was like,
She's on your vision board.
no, because I always tell people, I'm like, I want to be a grandma, but I don't know if I want any kids. So she inspired me. When he was like, that was abuela, she's not really my abuela. I was like, keep talking.
People can do that.
People can do that.
You're like, wait up.
That's my goals and aspirations in life, is to be a grandma. But I loved the fact that she wasn't blood related to any of them, and I think that also goes with the theme of like found family too. There's not all of them were blood related, but they were all just so close, and like the fact that they all called her abuela too, like made them feel even closer. Like I don't know if you ever had a community growing up where like maybe you called people primos that weren't your cousins.
I came from a big family, so no.
Oh, I was like, wait, what?
So no, I had a lot of actual tios and primos and all that. So.
Well, or even just like in sports communities or nothing like that.
No.
Oh shit!
Really.
Damn.
Yeah, but
well, it's a beautiful thing.
Again, I feel like those are two different stories as well, because my family came to the US with a lot of family. That was their support system. So there are instances where you don't have that, and you have to, like you said, find your find family who isn't actually family. So those are two different ends of the spectrum. So it's good to know that these stories are told, because I feel like in a lot of the Latino media too, it's always like family, Dominic Toretto, family, family. And that's, although that is very common too, it's also common for you to have to find your own community.
Yeah.
So I think it did a good job in that as well.
Yeah. I love found family. I think it's so sweet. I think that's like one of the most purest forms of love.
Yeah.
Found family.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn.
And it's sometimes easier to set boundaries with your found family than it is with your actual family.
Just kidding.
But yeah, one of the things, yeah, I mean, do you think we're done with some of the themes?
I think so. I think, yeah, because we're already at an hour.
Yeah. Do you have any criticisms of the movie?
I watched, well, first of all, very refreshing to see a movie about Latinos from the East Coast, which tend to be the Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, and kind of like how their story is very different from a story of maybe Latinos in the West Coast, of like crossing the South border this way. So it was very refreshing to see that. However, I did read a lot of criticisms online about casting like light skinned Latinos,
the lack of Afro.
Yeah, so that was a criticism that I saw a lot, and I think that is something that's important to talk about, of like telling the stories of these people, but kind of like casting only the main people being like the light skinned Latinos and stuff like that.
That I had it on the agenda as like the controversy, because it is something that Lin Manuel Miranda addressed, and I think he addressed it very eloquently, where he took that criticism. He's like, I hear you guys. I hear that it's very important. It is something that we should have more of, and like using his power as someone who's very powerful now because of this and because of Hamilton and all the other stuff he's gone on to do to make that representation happen. And I think that I hope that we haven't really seen anything from him again, that like solely from his brain. So hopefully he does put put that into his future work.
Yeah, because they were definitely very valid criticisms.
Yeah.
I do remember
And
hearing
he
that.
said that they were valid about
Yeah.
that. So he wasn't like, no, or like he didn't address them. He addressed them head on.
Yeah. But I lost my train.
Criticisms for the movie.
Me personally?
Yeah.
It was perfect. I don't know. I didn't think this far. Do you have any criticisms?
One of mine is I understand why this happened. It's an ensemble cast, so it's very hard to kind of make sure that everybody has enough for their characters. I feel like some of the character arcs were a little bit rushed or like underdeveloped. I think some stuff happened where I was like, oh, that seems a little bit too easy, but it's just a lot that it's trying to do. So I understand why that happened. Not criticisms that I have, but I've heard from people who have actually watched the musical that they cut out a lot of songs that might have been important, or just like having the abuela character. They say that the abuela character worked a little bit better on the actual on the stage, because she had more time. So you really got to connect with her character a lot more.
Yeah.
Criticisms, I think one of them is what we do talk about, which is good, but I feel like the way that I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. And maybe I'm just reading it wrong or just not having the great understanding of it. But that idea of moving forward, there's Sunny and I forgot who else, when talking about like gentrification and stuff, they're like, well, this is happening, like we shouldn't let it happen. And then everybody's like, like just move on or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's not it. Like, I feel like you should fight for it. It kind of felt like kind of giving up on that and kind of just being like, just move forward, which is, yes, you should always move forward, but also kind of strive for change in that and not just let it happen. That would have been one of my criticisms of how I handled that.
Yeah. I feel like it also makes sense though, because Sunny is the younger character. And I feel like younger people in general are the ones that are like, why are you so quick to accept that? Or like, why are you so quick? And where older people are just like, that's just life. And if you don't like the heat, get out the kitchen. Like that's kind of like their attitude.
But it feels like that was a message.
Because he didn't really.
Yeah, they kind of just like dismissed it. They were just like, you're just dad.
You're
and then
just
they're like,
Sunny.
they start dancing.
And then they listen to their block.
But I also understand because this movie was already tackling so much.
Yeah.
Trying to also have like a good solution to that, which is hard. If Lin Manuel Miranda fixed the issue of gentrification, that would have been crazy. But maybe
anyone could do it, it's him.
maybe having a little bit more nuance when it came to dealing with that.
Yeah, and I think that also might just. I mean, I have not seen the play, but it might just be
because of the
matter of the adaptation of going to the movie, because the movie was already like almost over 2 hours,
2.5 hours. Yeah.
So yeah, it could have been just that too. But I think for what it was able to pack into it, it did a phenomenal job. I think that it was very fun.
It was very refreshing.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Try to watch it somewhere with some good ass speakers, because the music is really good.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was gonna say. I regret not being able to watch this movie in theaters. That's what I was thinking while watching it. And then I watched a review, and the reviewer was like, if you can, watch it in the theater. And I was like, fuck, I hate that I wasn't able to watch it. It was one of the first movies to come out after the pandemic, or when stuff started going. So yeah, I feel like that's why a lot of people might have not seen it. And it was also just straight to HBO Max.
Loki, yeah, I think.
Same day. And it didn't win any Oscars, or it didn't even get nominated for any Oscars, which is a tragedy. But again, people say that it was a timing. It came out earlier in the year when a lot of the Oscar movies come out later in the year. People tend to have very short attention spans and forget about that, or forget about movies that came out earlier in the year. And they were also making arguments that that year, 2021, was just a lot of Lin Manuel Miranda, because he also
It was a year of Lin Manuel.
he also had his directorial debut with Tik Boom that year.
He directed Tik Boom.
Yeah, that was
He
his
ate that shit up.
director debut. Was with Tik Boom that year, and then another animated film that also came out in 2021. So they were just like, oh, people might have gotten fatigued, which I saw that criticism. Fuck that criticism.
I was like, that's kind of a weird thing to
Fuck
say.
that criticism. What are you trying to say? That there's too many Latino stories that people are going to get sick of that at the award shows? Fuck you. I hated that take. Honestly, it pissed me off. I was like, what the fuck do you mean it would have been too much?
People are
Fuck
getting
you.
tired of your little Latin stories.
I hate it. I saw that and I was like, no.
This is for all you motherfuckers.
What was this one?
Why not? Why won't you sing? Because singing killed my grandma, okay?
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
My uncle broke his neck tap dancing once.
But yes, we didn't even get to talk about the choreography, which was spectacular. That one scene in the club.
In the club.
The club.
The
Beautiful
Abuela
dancing.
song.
Like all of the fucking, so many people and the camera work to shoot all of that. Beautiful. What else? Music was really good. One thing I will say, I feel like Lin Manuel Miranda's rapping was fresh when this came out. It's getting a little bit stale. Switch it up. I like the songs that weren't too much rap. Cause yeah, that's my.
I think that's valid.
Yeah.
I think it's the first time I ever heard a Lin Manuel Miranda rap was My Shot from Hamilton. Somebody from my choir class sang it. And I was just like, I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. And I was just like, okay, this is kind of gonna be or whatever. I think it like kind of grows on you though, because like by the end of like that, watching that person rehearse over and over again, I was like, I am not throwing away my shot. Like,
Yeah. I was gonna say something, but I quickly shut it down in my head because that's obviously not true. I was gonna like, it feels like that's kind of the only thing he has to.
Well, it's also like his like little signature
his style,
thing.
but I liked everything. What I'm trying to say is Lin, you have so much to lean on. You don't just have to lean on that.
I see.
You know, I enjoyed your storytelling. I enjoyed the other songs too. Don't be afraid to lean into the other stuff.
Stop rapping. Just kidding.
not stop rapping, but yeah.
Yeah. Valid thoughts and critiques.
Are we reaching the end? Yeah. We are.
Yeah. And the closing question is, who was in the right, Usnavi or Vanessa? The way that we didn't talk about Usnavi, the way that we did not talk about the main character.
Yeah. And I think maybe that was one of another criticism that I was going to have, is that like for Usnavi being the main character, he didn't like, I don't know. His story wasn't as compelling to me as the other ones, but also because I feel like I just got out of college, so I relate to Nina the most.
Well, I feel like maybe he was more the narrator than he was the main character, because the ensemble cast was very much so an ensemble cast. But yeah, sorry we forgot to talk about Good Morning Usnavi.
He cheated on his wife. We don't have to talk about
Anthony
him.
Ramos, the techno troll.
But yeah.
Yeah, so who was in the right? Vanessa or Usnavi?
No one. I don't think anyone was in the right. They both made mistakes, and then they're acting like the other one made a mistake when they both had stuff to do with the outcome of that situation. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's like that viral TikTok sound that happened like a year or two ago.
Usnavi, all night, you barely even danced with me. Don't make me laugh, I've been trying all night. You've been shaking your ass for like half of the heights. Real nice. That part.
Yeah.
Do I get another chance? I'm leaving Vanessa. That part made me laugh so hard. I'm like, that's so fucking funny.
I liked it. More of that, Lin.
More of that one, Lin.
We are reaching the end of the episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. I have my Latino artist rec of the week, actually. My Latino artist recommendation of the week is an artist called Adre.
Adre.
Yeah.
Slay.
She is a Mexican-American artist from You guessed it, Texas.
Texas.
She makes pop music, and I don't really know what to explain it because it doesn't sound a lot like pop music. It sounds a lot like Karol G, like Kali Uchis, like Amber Lucid, who don't really stick to one genre. Mm-hmm. Some of it kind of sounds a little bit more like reggaeton. A lot of it, some of it sounds more like R&B and like dreamy. Mm. And, you know, she also kind of goes into kind of like those corrido sounds sometimes, so like different songs. She has a great voice, and the production on her songs are amazing. She's been doing this constantly, putting out like singles since like 2019. So, you know, give her some love because I would love to hear more from her. And if we give her love, then she'll continue to do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So go ahead and check out her music. It's fantastic. I listened to it on the way here, and it's definitely music that you listen to while driving at night, like on these late night drives. So
main character music.
Check her out. We'll put her in the link, or we'll put her in the description down below because her name is interesting to spell. So yeah.
Yay, and that's his Latino artist recommendation. And with that, we are getting ready to say goodbye. But before we do, you must tell us which of these fabulous
good ones. We got great
sound
ones.
effects were your favorite. This is number 1.
My mom!
This is number 2.
Why not? Why won't you sing? Because singing killed my grandma, okay?
Which is
Leave me alone.
the most dramatic scene ever in cinematic history. Number 3. That one always succeeds.
Short and sweet.
And number 4.
Colombia, me encantó, me encantó.
Very good.
Shy. You get shy after.
And everybody do your best Lin Manuel Miranda pose.
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. We hope you had a blast. And if you have any thoughts about this film or anything that we didn't mention, go ahead and mention it in the comments down below, or join our Discord to chat with us.
And play Fortnite with me.
So see you next week.
Bye. Yay.
The Hand Me Down podcast is produced and hosted by Natalia Delgado and Alan Gallardo. This episode was edited by Alan Gallardo, and the social media clips are edited by Natalia Delgado. And I'm the associate producer, Milena Ortega. We'll see you next week.